2 districts. Did you run off before a urine screen? Did you evade arrest since 2015? We know these things can happen. So do we have the solution for you? It's McNally's Babes, Brews, and BBQ bench warrant tours. We know it gets tiring ducking and diving the courts. So here at McNally Tours, we ensure you get to all your bench warrants in one day. We offer the most luxurious vehicles with drinks, babes, and the finest jerky assortments. So put on your best Miller Lite shirt and don't let Judge Disanto get you down. Sure, she may throw you away for 30 days, but at least you will get there in style. So give us a call at 1-800-McNally-4U today.
There we go. First, Jacob Beech, 16W812768A and B. Mr. Dupree, your appearance, please.
Matthew Dupree, Pleads 0132, MIDC Arraignment Counsel. Mr. Beech, state your name, please.
Nope, you have to unmute the microphone. On behalf of Woodhaven needs to unmute the microphone. There you go. Mr. Beech, your name, please.
Jacob Beech.
Thank you. And on behalf of the City of Woodhaven, your appearance, please.
Hi, Your Honor. Detective Sergeant Adam Ruffner, Woodhaven Police Department.
Thank you, Sergeant Ruffner. Okay, today we have here Mr. Beech, and you are in custody on a warrant that's been outstanding for many years, since January 11th of 2017. So that warrant is now lifted. Mr. Dupree, you've had an opportunity to meet and speak with your client, and for purposes of the arraignment, because I've lifted the warrant, how would he like to proceed?
Waive reading, stand mute, Your Honor.
It means I've entered a not guilty plea on your behalf, indicating you are standing mute, invoking your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, providing you then with a pretrial date. This is for the A case, is June 7th. At 10:30 in person, June 7th at 10:30 in person. And the B civil infraction citation of speed 6 to 10 over has been in default. So you have 4 options on that case. Option 1, you could plead guilty on the failure to pay and ask to pay it. Option 2, you could plead guilty on the failure to pay and choose to serve jail time. Court will say 1 day for every $10 owed. Heather, how much is outstanding on Mr. Jacob Beech's civil infraction case ending in 768B?
327.
Meaning you could spend 33 days in jail. Option 4 or 3, you could pay part, serve part. Option 4, you could plead not guilty, take it to a hearing, not to contest the underlying validity of the charge. That time now has long since passed. But maybe, for instance, you paid it and you have proof of payment. How would your client like to proceed with respect to the B charge?
Judge, we were going to ask if that could follow.
Way too old.
Okay.
Way too old. Cannot be set aside. The default cannot be set aside. It's 7 years old.
I was going to ask that it be set aside, Judge. I was just going to ask if it could just track the other case, and when he has his pre-trial, he could handle all of this at one time.
So you want to enter a not guilty plea?
I guess a not guilty plea for now, Your Honor. Yes. Just because if there's fines for both, that way you can get a single setup for everything, or jail for both, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sometimes it helps if there's already a plea on a companion civil infraction case. It kind of helps the negotiation process on a misdemeanor charge. But I entered a not guilty plea, setting it for contempt hearing. Contempt hearing will take place simultaneously June 7th at 10:30 in person. And Sergeant Ruffner, would you like to speak to bond or bond conditions?
Your Honor, as far as the charges are concerned, I'll leave that to the discretion of the court. I would like to advise the court that Mr. Beech does have a warrant for assaulting police out of Wyandotte, and that's a 17 charge, 2017.
Okay, thank you. And how did Mr. Beech get into your custody, Sergeant?
Your Honor, he was stopped by Huron Township Police Department, at which time they contacted us and we picked up on our warrants.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dupree, would you like to speak to bond or bond conditions on behalf of your client?
Judge, yes, although I understand it's been some time since he last appeared for court, I would make a couple of notes. First, I don't think he's any danger to the public, has no violent or felonious criminal history. And with regards to flight risk, he has a 1.5-year-old son in the area. He's employed. He was picked up, in the region. Obviously, he didn't flee generally, failed to appear for court, but I don't think there's a reason to think that he would flee at this point. Now that he's been brought in, I think he recognizes what happens if he doesn't appear, which is being arrested. So we'd ask if the court would consider personal bond or a low cash bond. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know once you post or if you post, I don't know what Wyandott's going to do, but I have a feeling they're probably going to pick you up. So you will be able to take care of that outstanding warrant at the same time. But I'm going to put you on a 3,010% bond, $300 you have to post. You'll have an opportunity to call someone and have them come post on your behalf. These bond conditions apply. You can't leave the state without first seeking consent from the court. You cannot violate any law or ordinance. You must appear at all future court dates as directed. You shall not operate a motor vehicle without a valid license. I will see you here June 7th at 10:30. Any questions?
Is that in person?
It is in person, correct? Not by Zoom, in person.
Gotcha. No.
All right, you are all set. Sorry about the wait, Sergeant, and thank you. You're all set as well.
Thank you very much. Take care, Your Honor.
You too. This is the case of David Disanto.
And this time he would plead guilty to the allegations.
Sir, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear from the testimony about to give this matter the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I can't hear you.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And sir, you heard the plea that your attorney placed on the record, correct?
Yes.
And as to the allegations of probation violation, how do you plead?
Guilty.
And you've gone over your rights for probation violation purposes, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand all of those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also understand that by entering into a plea, you'll be waiving some of those rights, specifically your right to a contested hearing, correct?
Come again? I couldn't hear you.
You understand that by entering into a plea, you'll be waiving some of those rights, specifically your right to a contested hearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand the possible penalty as a result of your plea, correct?
I wasn't fully informed.
All right, well, the recommendation is to have probation revoked, close case without improvement, pay a violation fee, serve jail time, and your balance will be $674.
Your Honor, if I
That's
may.
what the recommendation is.
I didn't have the recommendation when I met him, and Alex just gave it to me now. But I do not see any recommendation for jail time.
Yep, it is. Look down there under others, and then see where it says serve blank days in jail starting today. It's checked, but there's not a recommendation for number of days.
Oh,
Just below others. See the dot?
I just see serve. Oh, I see. That's
See other those.
the other line under.
Yeah, okay.
We're gonna ask that.
Okay, I understand. So do you understand the possible penalty, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, knowing all that, you still want to continue with your plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anybody promised you anything, threatened you, or coerced you in any way for you to enter into a plea?
No, Your Honor.
All right, counsel, you can please ready your client.
Thank you. Mr. Beech, were you placed on probation to this court back in, I'm sorry. on the 2016.
It's kind of, I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry, were you placed on probation to this court back in March of 2016? We have the wrong court date. Were you placed on probation to this court?
Yes, I was placed on probation.
And as part of that probation, were you to attend probation hearings as well as comply with a payment plan, complete a workforce program?
Yes.
And did you do all of those things, or did you fail to do those things?
I failed to complete them.
Been satisfied, Your Honor.
The court is also satisfied the plea is knowing, voluntary, and factually accurate. The court will accept your plea. The probation violation, indicate probation violation will enter. And counsel, as to the recommendation.
Your Honor, he clearly understands the obligations and the financial obligations. He was very young at the time. I believe he was 19. In fact, the review of the file appears, and I may be wrong, that he was originally under HIDA, and there was some comments about in the file about it was a felony. I'm just looking at the letters that were in the file. He was immature. He's gained in status, and he's tried to comply with some of those things, and he just messed up. He's quite remorseful for that. Also, he's gainfully employed. He's living with a significant other and his child that he is obligated to support. He is taking care of all those actions. We're asking that the probation obviously be revoked without improvement, and rather than incarcerate him at this time, Your Honor, we would ask that he payment plan to pay off all of the. I don't think at this point in time, Your Honor, the incarceration is going to do anything to help society or to help him. Second of all, it's my understanding that he was just arraigned on a driving while license suspended in third district court, and his next court date, he received a personal bond there, and his next court date is the 6th of June 7th. I don't see incarceration serving any purpose other than to just punish him in his family. He does understand, as he told me, he was mature, and that's all he has to say.
So, Mr. Beech, why haven't you taken care of this matter before now?
Just scared of going to jail. Like, I have a job I have to keep and stuff. Like, I was just not sure what was going to happen or come from it.
And so you think avoiding it is the more mature way to handle it?
No, it's not, Your Honor.
How did you come to be in custody today, sir?
He was detained out of Boston and is taken on the driving out suspended ticket to third district court. They picked him up there.
Why not went and picked him up?
Yes, is that correct, Mr. Beech?
Woodhaven came and got me from New Boston, then just Wyandotte came and got me after I posted bond. Like I said, I was just.
He was able to use the cash that he had to post the bond for the driving out suspended license, which is how.
Okay, hold on. So you were arrested in New Boston, right?
Yes, Your
Honor. I'm speaking to him.
Hold on, just a moment, please. Because I'm a little confused. You indicated he was in 33rd on a suspended license and he posted a personal bond. Or they gave him a personal bond. But what appears to have happened is that Mr. Beech was arrested in New Boston after being pulled over or having some police contact. He had a warrant out of 33rd and a warrant out of 27th. Is that how that happened?
I wasn't necessarily arrested. I was gonna get a ticket and go.
Hold on, sir. No. Okay. listen, did you have a warrant out of 33rd District Court?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay, and you have one out of the 27th District Court.
I did, Your Honor.
That's where I'm going, is that you had 2 outstanding warrants and you didn't take care of either one of them voluntarily.
Yes, just not being aware of what's gonna happen. I can't really take jail time, Your Honor.
Is your new address on Yorkshire, sir?
No, that's not the right address. It's, I can give you the address.
Hold on. Kimberly?
Really drive, yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, here's what the court's going to do. The court's going to indicate that you have previously failed to appear at court. You've gone about 6 years before you've taken care of this matter, and that was only because you had police contact, not on your own voluntary basis. So what the court's going to do is the court's going to indicate that the court's going to revoke your probation, close the case without improvement. The court's going to also indicate that you are to serve
Your Honor, he's gainfully employed, he's working full-time at DSI. As I've indicated, he is sole support of his family, his significant other, and the court will take that into consideration.
Okay. The court has taken all that into consideration. The court's going to indicate 30 days jail.
Your Honor, that's extremely harsh, particularly under the circumstances. I understand that he didn't show up. He was very.
What are the circumstances, counsel, other than your client was placed on probation? He failed to attend probation appointments, 3 of them, January 24th, January 31st, February 15th. Also failed to comply with any payments, failed to complete any work for it. So he was given the benefit of probation instead of jail and didn't do any of that. And so then he's gone 6 years without addressing any of these issues. And so obviously the maximum penalty is 93 days and I'm indicating 30 days.
Your Honor,
One can speak at a time, so you have to wait.
Your Honor, as I've indicated, he acted very mature. There's no doubt about that. He's indicated to you that he's got this fear of what was going to occur, and he was wrong. If he'd come and taken care of this, we wouldn't be in this circumstance. However, Your Honor, I do understand that the only reason he came in is because he got picked up on another outstanding warrant. That one hasn't been resolved, and I would only ask that rather than incarcerating this case for a probation violation, that we close it out and let the court deal with this case.
So Mr. Beech should just be rewarded with not having to do anything or account for anything as it relates to his plea from 2016, the end of 2016, and go on his merry way?
No, Your Honor, I'm not suggesting he doesn't owe the money or take care of other incidents. I'm just asking that he not incarcerate for his failure to come in here sooner on his own.
Counsel, the court isn't indicating that the 30 days jail is for him failing to come in earlier. It's because he didn't comply with terms and conditions of probation.
I understand.
And so, since he didn't comply with terms and conditions of probation, what's the alternative?
Your Honor, I'm only indicating, and I'll be honest with the court, had he come in here voluntarily a year ago or 2 years ago, I don't suggest that the court would be incarcerated. That's all I'm asking.
Well, perhaps the court wouldn't be incarcerating for as long, but there would probably still be incarceration. There's been other matters, counsel, that individuals haven't completed anything on probation, and probation's revoked, and then there's jail time.
I understand that, Your Honor, but there's not a claim that he didn't do nothing on this. He didn't do some of those things.
All right, what did your client complete on probation?
Pardon?
What did your client complete
Well,
on probation?
my understanding, he did make some payments. the terms and conditions, but some payments were made.
Here is what he was ordered to do. Random drug testing, monthly reporting, 2 days on the court workforce, payment, and comply with the payment plan. So he didn't do any of his conditions. Those were the only conditions he had.
Your Honor, my understanding was that the total costs were about $900.
$930, yeah.
So there's some payment at least,
Okay.
because of the amount that now. There's
He
no,
made about $306 in payments.
I understand that. Also, Your Honor, I don't see any allegations that he failed any type of drug testing or that matter.
I'm sorry, $360, and that was actually on the day of his sentencing. So he didn't make any payment after he was sentenced. The $360 was paid on the date of sentencing,
I
and he
understand
didn't
that.
make another payment. So, counsel, how do,
I guess
if an individual is sentenced to probation, not jail, they don't comply with any conditions of their probation, what should be the consequence?
I guess I'm asking for leniency, Your Honor, no circumstance.
Because if people are just going to be placed on probation, not comply with any terms, and then show up a couple years later, what's the point of probation? What incentive is there for somebody to complete their terms and conditions of probation?
The incentive, of course, is not to go to jail. I
Okay,
understand that, Your Honor.
and so then you're asking me, you're telling this court that it's too harsh for this court to send us into jail.
Under these circumstances, at this time, yes, and his life has changed around, he's now gainfully employed. I agree he's not come in here voluntarily to take care of this. I agree that he should have completed all the terms and probation. I'm only asking the court to look into the totality of the circumstances and ask for leniency on behalf of Mr. Beech.
I did take that into consideration, which is why I didn't send us into the full term of jail. Because he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything while on probation. Yes, sir?
So, put me on the verge of losing my house. I'm really trying to,
Sir, hold on, let me clarify something. I'm not putting you on the verge of anything. I am not the one that didn't appear for probation. I am not the one that didn't comply with probation conditions. So let's be clear on that. I am not the one that's putting you on the verge of losing your house.
I'm just saying the whole situation, I know I messed up and, I'm really trying to make it right. But jail
How are you
time,
doing that? Because how are you doing that? I haven't seen effort as to any of that.
like I said, Your Honor,
You're trying to make it right. You said you're trying to make it right. How are you doing that? What are you doing to make it right?
well, I haven't been able to because like I said, I wasn't sure on what was gonna happen. I don't remember what the circumstances were back, why I didn't complete the program. And
So did you contact into the court? Did you call your probation officer? Did you call the probation department?
no, I did reach out to Woodhaven a couple weeks ago, seeing like how to go about it. But like I said, Your Honor, money is tight and I wasn't sure on what was gonna happen. I can't afford to go to jail and not be in the workforce making money for fees and to survive, Your Honor.
Sir, I can understand that, but this court has its written orders. And if its orders are not complied with, how long do you think this court should wait for somebody to comply with its orders? before there's additional consequences.
Well, I kept a clean nose and wasn't like causing any trouble, you know. I just was requesting maybe a tether, like you guys would know where I'm at until the next court date.
There isn't a court date with us. You pled guilty to the probation violation.
Okay. And that your only step is jail next, no money or anything?
Well, sir, actually, I'm going to waive your fines and costs. You haven't paid them in 7 years. The court's going to waive your fines and costs.
Well, I don't want them, I'm willing to pay them. I just can't take the jail time. I'm willing to pay any price on any payment plan there is.
Sir, you can't take the jail time, and you should have complied with this court's orders of probation. Probation is an opportunity for somebody to stay out of jail and correct their behavior. Your behavior wasn't corrected because you still haven't done what you're supposed to have done. You still didn't take care of your matters. You still had another warrant out of the 33rd District Court. Probation is revoked.
This court at least consider 10 days with 30 months. This way, hopefully, we'll be able to maintain a job. And
The court will amend the 30 days to 21 days. I'm not going down less than that.
thank you.
21 days jail. We're going to find the cause of matters closed down.
Thank you, Your Honor, would it be possible, Your Honor, for him to report to the Wayne County Jail on Monday so we can?
Absolutely not. He failed to appear 7 years. He hasn't even voluntarily come in. He has another warrant out of 33rd. No, not going to happen.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And then we are still on the record in the matter of the city of Wyandotte versus Daniel Walters, 23704.
Definitely, Your Honor, John Goldclough, P. 3075A, on behalf of Mr. Walters. Mr. Walters, please put your name on the record.
I didn't catch that, sorry, what?
Okay, Mr. Goldclough, I don't think you're coming through very well.
John Goldclough, P. 3075A, on behalf of Mr. Walters. Mr. Walters, would you please put your name on the record?
Daniel Robert Walters.
All right, thank you. That was very good in the
Thank you.
microphone there. All right, well, Mr. Walters is in custody because he failed to appear for a pretrial on May 2nd. And there was a warrant issued for his arrest. Oh, I remember Mr. Walters. Mr. Walters
Yep.
was supposed to have tested and he took off before he tested. So the court revoked fine and issued a warrant for his arrest, a $7,500 cash fine. And that was on April 18th. And because the court had concerns that Mr. Walters had been, was under the influence of alcohol at the time of the pretrial. And so the court ordered Mr. Walters to go over probation and test. And I believe part of that was because Mr. Walters acknowledged that he had consumed alcohol and marijuana. So then the court wasn't even going to conduct a pretrial either. And so the court had Mr. Walters report to probation for testing, and before he could do that, he took off. And then he didn't return for the next date that we'd adjourned this to, either on May 2nd. And now Mr. Walters is in custody.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And how did that occur?
That occurred because Mr. Walters had an outstanding matter in the 33rd District Court. he feared he
That's
would.
a common theme today.
It's a common theme today. However, this was before Judge McNally, not just before Judge Defendant. And Mr. Walters appeared there, and then he was given a personal bond by Judge McNally, and he was then taken to this court.
And so how did Mr. Walters appear there? He walked in voluntarily, or did he get transported from a different jurisdiction?
Mr. Walters, how did you get taken to Judge McNally?
I mean, I was picked up on gross deal. I wasn't trying to evade police or anything. Considering I didn't know I had a warrant out from 33rd, because in the late April, middle of April, I literally lost everything in my possession and like my house. My entire life went to shambles, right? But regarding your case, I really was going to turn myself in as soon as I got like the money and everything. But when you ordered me to go do the drug test and I knew I was going to fail for it, I got terrified and I ran off. And I was going to come back in like a month or so, but then all this stuff happened. But I was going to come back to where I can test clean and everything and do it the right way. But I know that it's still not the right way no matter what. So, but I was for my probation. I'm sorry.
Sir,
Yes.
time out. You said you knew you were going to go to jail. Why?
I was scared. I didn't know. I was scared.
So you assumed that you were going to jail.
Yes.
Okay, and so what kind of warrant, what kind of case did you have in 33rd District Court that you had a warrant out for your arrest?
Oh, that was through the violation of probation. But when I said I was scared I was gonna go to jail, that was when I had to do the testing in your court, is what I was referring to.
And you're on probation for OWI?
I don't know what that is. No, what is that? I don't know what that is.
What are you on probation for out of 33rd District Court?
It's attempted, right, which it's a whole different thing. And then a shoplifting thing.
Attempt retail fraud, that's correct.
Correct.
Oh, okay. So,
But I was doing my probation and everything. I was actually almost done with it. I was behind with the fines, but I was on track with all my drug testing and all that up until just a month or so ago. When literally my entire life went to shambles right before my eyes, and I just tried my hardest. So I'm trying to get it back on track right now. And I would do the probation. I'm typically really good with all of that kind of stuff. I'm actually typically like a shining example of what you would want from your, I don't know what you would call them, but probation.
sir, are you under the care of a treating physician right now?
What is that?
Are you under the care of a doctor right now?
I mean, I have a primary care physician, yeah.
Okay, and are you being treated by that physician?
I mean, I haven't seen him in a while, no. But I was about to start.
Big question, sir, is if you have some mental health issues that have been addressed.
Well, I can understand. I've been thinking about that myself, but I've been under a lot of stress. Like my ex-girlfriend died, and then I had to learn to walk again, and was homeless, and everything else got taken from me. So I wouldn't say like I'm crazy, but I'm just kind of, the wear and tear has gotten to me. Yes. So I was actually about to start an outpatient thing from my probation, but then all this stuff happened. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, I'm trying to get back on track, not even just my life, but with like the judicial system and everything, to get this behind me, because I don't want to be ducking and diving for 6 years or whatever, you know what I mean?
Okay, and sir, when I ask you that question regarding mental health, it's not because I am trying to determine if you're crazy or not crazy, it's because you weren't having you didn't have many issues, and then all of a sudden you're having a lot of issues. That's why I'm asking you, not to,
Yeah.
whether or not you're crazy, not crazy, or otherwise. Because just
There
because
were
you're mental health
issues.
issues doesn't mean that you're a crazy person.
Right, there was issues before, I was just able to handle them much better. You know what I mean? Now, the past, well, it's been like 6 months, but the past like 2 months especially, I don't know what, I mean, I'm starting to realize like what I have to do. It's just a matter of getting all my stones in a row, you know?
Okay.
So that's kind of what I wanted to do, and then turn myself into. But I didn't have the kind of time to do that because Grozil knows me. So, and not even from all this, because they know my family and stuff.
Okay. The court's going to recall the warrant, indicate pre-trial June 13th, 2023 at 9 a.m. and counsel asks to bond.
Your Honor, he's now on a personal bond, out of Judge, McNally. Actually, he has to appear before Judge Hessen on, I believe, the 5th.
Fifth.
Regarding the run, the 5th, is that correct, Mr. Walter?
That's correct. That's correct.
He's between jobs. He was recently employed at O'Malley's, I believe it was, and then.
It was
he
Mally's,
left that job.
Mally's and,
Let me finish, please. These are the dates, these are the jobs you told me you're at. He then left there for a better experience, or hopefully, but meanwhile, he's become homeless. The residence where he was residing previously, they didn't pay the lease, so there was some miscommunication there. He then is now living with friends and couch sleeping, so to speak. He does have, his next court date is before Judge Hessen, on a personal bond. I know this is asking a lot, Your Honor, but we're asking, for a personal bond with, even if it's necessary for a tether, though I don't believe he can afford a tether, and so that he can appear, and he knows he has to appear, first of all, in front of Judge Hessen, but second of all, at the new pre-trial. You know, this asking a lot, Your Honor, but that's what I'm asking.
You're correct. It is asking a lot.
I'll follow through on all of it and be thorough, I promise. I promise. I mean, I know this doesn't mean much, me just saying it, but I would like the opportunity, like an actual opportunity to do the stuff correctly. You know what I mean? Because I have no trouble finding work or places to live or anything like that. It's just my last place, I was paying rent and they weren't paying the mortgage. And so I had to, you know.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do, sir. Because you were in court, you left, you didn't come back for the next court date, and you've had this outstanding warrant that you didn't voluntarily come in on. The court does have concerns that you're going to appear in court for the next court date. So
I didn't know about this. Sorry.
You're going to indicate to me, no excuse for not showing up. I'm not going to drug testing. However, Your Honor, he indicated to me that he was unaware of the February 2nd date.
May 2nd?
I didn't think that was May 2nd, wasn't the pre-trial they did show that.
Yes, it was, but the court gave him that date in court before he even went to go test.
I know, Your Honor. I told him, I'm sure the court gave him that date. The houses, and nobody sent any notes. I understand that you did tell him that. I'm sure you did, Your Honor.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to indicate that.
I'm begging you, Your Honor, please.
A
I'm
$2,500
actually-
10% bond. Stop talking, sir. $2,500 10% bond. You got me post bond, GPS cutter through Wayne County Jail.
That means you have to come up to $250.
And not to possess or consuming alcohol or drugs unless prescribed.
I can't come up with that money right now.
McNally Jurors is not responsible for you getting thrown in jail, warrants, fees, costs, and Disanto's wrath. Please drink responsibly and like and subscribe to Time Served. See you later, nerds.